What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at a new projector. This is the XGIMI Horizon S Max. Taking a look at some of the specs, this has a triple laser plus LED projection with a 4K resolution, a brightness of 3100 ISO lumens, a 1,000,000 to 1 contrast ratio, built-in Android TV 11, and stereo speakers with 24 watts of power. So taking a look inside the box, you have your user manual, your AC adapter to power the projector, your remote control, and then last but not least, you have the actual projector itself. So taking a look at the projector, this is definitely a very nice looking unit. You have this rose gold color here at the bottom, fabric cover on front of the lens, all beige, and then in the back you just have your vents and ports. And as you can see, it does have a built-in gimbal. So right here, this fabric cover, this is actually an electric sliding cover. So when you turn this on, this automatically slides down. This not only looks cool, but it also helps the projector blend into a room. And most importantly, it also keeps dust off the lens when you're not using it as well. So taking a look at your ports here at the bottom, you have your power port. And then up here, you have your power button, your HDMI/eARC port, and then you have two USB-A ports, and these are both USB 2.0. All right, so getting this projector set up is very easy. As I said earlier, you have a built-in gimbal, and this has 360 degrees of horizontal adjustment. There's actually a little disc at the bottom, so this can free spin. And then this has 135 degrees of vertical adjustment, so you can point it downward, straight, or even all the way up at the ceiling. And you don't need to place this that far from the screen to get a larger image, as this does have a nice and short throw ratio of 1.2 to 1. And then like I mentioned earlier, once you're ready to start projecting, you simply turn it on, and that electronic mechanical cover automatically comes down. Very cool to see. And that's when it'll start projecting. Same thing when you're ready to turn it off, just hit the power button. Well, you got to push it 2 times, and then that's when it'll close and cover up the lens again. So the gimbal on its own would be useless if it didn't have all the features inside this projector. This has what they call ISA 5.0, and this has auto keystone, auto focus, auto screen alignment, and obstacle avoidance. So basically you just point the projector where you want it, and it automatically sets everything up for you. And I must say, this does work very well. There's basically no loading, and it just does the corrections for you as you move it around in real time. Another feature this has is wall color adaptation. So right now I have it projected onto a white wall, so it's not going to affect the image too much. But if this was a yellow wall, blue wall, gray wall, that's basically going to tint your image that color. So with the wall color adaptation, it'll detect the color of the wall and then recalibrate the image to get you the best projection on that wall. So definitely a very useful feature if you're someone that's going to be projecting onto odd surfaces. And then, like I said earlier, this has auto obstacle avoidance, which is going to help when it comes to projecting in unusual places as well. So ideally, you want to project onto a flat wall, but I know it's not always possible. So say if you're in a situation like this and half of your screen is on something that you don't want it projecting onto, you just turn that on. The projector is going to read the wall. And just like that, it'll automatically resize the image. So you're getting an image where it's not blocked by something in the way. So turning on the projector, this has built-in Android TV 11, so you don't need an external Fire Stick or Shield TV or anything like that. Everything is built in right inside the projector to make it a nice, compact, and portable unit. And as you can see here, we also have Google Play Store, so you can download thousands of apps inside the projector and even games as well. And inside the projector, this has 2 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of onboard storage. I was a little concerned about that 2 gigabytes of RAM at first. I was worried that it was going to be laggy or not very responsive. But as you can see, definitely a very responsive projector. I played some HDR content and messed around with quite a few things, and everything overall stayed nice and snappy, very comparable to my NVIDIA Shield. Taking a look at the video quality, this projector definitely puts out a very good looking image. As I said earlier, this has a 4K resolution with 3100 ISO lumens. So not only is the image very sharp, but it's also very bright as well. In the dark, it's unlikely you'll be using this at max brightness because it really is a lot brighter than most people would need, unless of course you are projecting at a very large screen size. In my case, I have it projected at about a 100-inch screen and usually leave the brightness around 3 or 4. The only time I would recommend using a brighter setting would be if you have the lights on or are using it in a room with a lot of sunlight. With that being said, even when you have this in a very bright room, the image is still very visible. Yes, you lose some contrast and black levels, which is inevitable, but even onto my wall, it is still a very usable image and you can still see everything very easily. When it comes to the actual projection, this uses their Dual Light 2.0 technology, which combines both a triple laser and LED projection. This does a few different things, but one of them is greatly reduced speckle, and this definitely performed as advertised. I got very close to the screen and could not see any speckles, and I even took a video as close as possible so you can see this for yourself as well. Besides reducing speckles, Dual Light 2.0 also gives better image uniformity, better contrast, and higher viewing comfort. When it comes to comfort, this projector actually has several different certifications to give you the best viewing experience possible, and I'll throw those up on the screen so you can see what they all are as well. Coming back to the image, this projector has a 110% BT 2020 color gamut and a delta E color accuracy of less than 1. So not only does it put out a very good image, but also a very accurate one as well. I usually find myself tinkering with settings, but with this one I did not need to make any adjustments as everything looked good straight out of the box. Last but not least, this projector is both IMAX Enhanced and Dolby Vision certified, and thanks to the high brightness, HDR content is some of the best I've seen on a projector. The highlights and colors really pop off the screen, and we're getting very close to HDR quality that you'll get from an actual TV. When it comes to sound, this projector has built-in stereo speakers with a total of 24 watts, and this is definitely one of the best sounding projectors out there. This is a Harman Kardon sound system, and overall it's a very full sound with more than enough volume and bass to easily enjoy a movie directly on the projector. And one thing I really liked is even at 100% there was no distortion. Like I said, just a very good sounding speaker that could even rival many soundbars out there as well. Last but not least, compared to a regular projector, you don't have to worry about changing the bulb every few years, as it does have a very long lamp life of 20,000 hours. So taking a look at your projector settings, this is what it looks like. Up top, you have your uninterrupted auto keystone correction. If you turn that off, it'll replace the image with the XGIMI logo and show you what it's doing. I don't see a reason why you would want to turn that off, so just leave that on, and then it'll do all the corrections in the background and not interrupt your image. You have your auto keystone correction. You can also do that from the remote as well. More correction settings. So going into that, you have manual keystone correction, autofocus, manual focus, image zoom, screen shift, screen rotation, wall color adaptation, and then restore default. And then you also have some advanced settings for keystone, focus, and projector. So advanced keystone settings, you have keystone restore, auto keystone on startup, auto obstacle avoidance, and auto screen alignment. Below that, you have focus settings, and you have autofocus on setup, and then autofocus upon motion. Right below that, you have your picture settings. First up, you have light source mode, and here you can choose from Dual Light 2.0 and Tricolor Laser. For Dual Light 2.0, it says provides higher brightness while significantly improving viewing comfort. And then for Tricolor Laser, it says provides vivid color display recommended for users not sensitive to color fringing or speckle. I did switch between these, and personally my preference was the Dual Light 2.0 as the image just looks brighter and pops a lot more. You have adaptive brightness on and off. You have your brightness toggle. Right now I have it set to the max, but you can go all the way down to 1 and then all the way up to 10. And then if you click it one more time, it has 10 plus. I don't see too much of a difference between 10 and 10 plus. It looks more like it kind of just changes the color profile a little bit, but it does look better when you have it on the regular 1 to 10 modes. You have your contrast enhancement. So switching that on and off, that shows you what it looks like. Again, whether I prefer this on or off depends on what I'm watching. Personally, I prefer a brighter image, and then I'm okay with sacrificing a little bit of contrast. So I leave that off. So as you can see, when you switch that on, you do lose a little bit of brightness, but as the name implies, you do get some additional contrast. You have your picture modes. Right now I have it on standard, but there's also movie, sport, brilliant, soft, custom, and then at the bottom you have high power. Basically, it doesn't recommend using this very often as it's going to shorten the life of the projector. Like I said earlier, I am happy with the out of the box settings, so most of the time I just leave it on standard. Diving into the custom settings, I was impressed at how much customizations this projector has. So if you're someone like me that likes to tinker a lot, this is going to give you all the options to play with. So you have brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness, gamma, color temperature, and color space. So clicking on color temperature, you can change it from default settings. And then you also have picture color temperatures, and you can also customize this to get specific calibrations as well. You have your color space, and you can change this from BT 2020, DCI P3, and Rec 709. Right below all of that, you have even more settings. This is the advanced settings section. First up, you have motion compensation. I really don't like how this looks. The only time I might use this is in video games, but with regular TV, it gives it that soap opera kind of weird look. So I usually just leave it off. And then if you're also watching sports, that's where it might come in handy as well. Right below that, you have your HDR settings, local contrast, noise reduction, dynamic contrast, color optimization, and then lastly, you have color correction. And in here, you can adjust the color, hue, saturation, and lightness. Right below your picture settings, you have game mode, and this has off, low latency, and ultra low latency. On ultra low setting, it does give you the lowest latency, but it does disable the image correction as well. So kind of a trade-off, but if you're someone that's serious about gaming, I'm sure you won't mind a little bit of less good looking image in exchange for a very good response time. Next, you have your Dolby Vision settings, your IMAX Enhanced, off or auto, 3D video setup, as this does support 3D content. And as you can see right here, it has all your 3D toggles depending on the 3D content you're watching. And then last but not least, here at the bottom, you have professional grade color accuracy. This isn't a setting I've seen on other projectors, but basically once you enable this, this is going to give you the most accurate image possible. So once you click on that, it switches your picture profile, but then it also says at the bottom, when enabled, manual adjustment of brightness, color, and image mode will affect color accuracy. So to use this, I guess you got to put it on default and then turn that on. And that's going to give you the most accurate image possible. Some people prefer that, and then there's other people who want a more vivid image that pops. So you can always play with that and see what you prefer. And then if you want to turn it off, you just click on restore, and that'll put it back to your previous profile. Next up, you have your sound settings, and the first one is general sound effect, and there's two different profiles. You have Harman Kardon Original, then you have DTS Virtual X. Below that, you have your equalizers, and this has standard, movie, sport, and game. You have volume balance. I guess that normalizes the volumes across all content. And last but not least, you have your digital audio out, and you can change this from internal speakers, or if you want the audio to come out of the HDMI port. You have your inputs. As I showed earlier, this only has one HDMI port. Then you have HDMI control, and then you also have auto power on from HDMI as well. Going into advanced settings, you have Bluetooth visibility. So if you want to connect to the projector to project music from your phone, you can do that. This is an Android projector, so it has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you can always cast directly from your phone as well. And then below that, you have intelligent eye protection. Switching that on, as you can see, it'll dim the projector when something gets in the way. And then last but not least, here in the bottom, you have focus calibration and keystone calibration in case the calibration is off or you just want to customize it to look a certain way. And then when you go here to all settings, that goes into basically all the Android settings. So I'm not going to go over all of that. But when it comes to the projector settings, definitely very happy to see that it has all of these settings that allows you to play with. Overall, this is definitely one of the best portable projectors out there. It feels well made, the image looks way better than I expected, and honestly, I have no real complaints as it's just a very good projector. So overall, if you happen to be shopping for a portable but well-performing projector, I would highly recommend this one here, which again is the XGIMI Horizon S Max. If you would like to purchase or get more information, I'll also put the link in the description as well. All right, well, that about wraps up this video. As usual, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.